Whoa! Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm in a Porsche Taycan Turbo S. Oh, this car is just nuts. It's nuts. Why does this exist? I don't know, but it's probably for very good reasons. Woo! Oh, this is so good. This belongs to a friend of mine, Carl's. Now you might remember Carl because he bought an Audi e-tron with me 3 years ago. We both went up to Auckland and we test drove the first e-tron, which is based on this platform. We test drove the e-tron RS GT. What an amazing car that was. Of course, I've had one of those, and so has Carl for the last couple of years. We've changed over to Porsche now, and Carl's gone electric, or stayed electric, and I've gone gasoline with my Turbo S. So we're out today in both the Turbo S's for a bit of a spin, try each other's cars out, see what we think. And wow, this is just pretty crazy, really. So the Turbo S is essentially the top of the Porsche range. It's the top of the range for the electric, and it's the same situation in their petrol variants. And that's why they've used the name Turbo S, even though this electric car does not have turbos. So maybe turbo is just like ultra fast, that's what it means. So we're up around the Port Hills at the moment, which is a favourite driving road. It has been a very busy part of the road this morning, but we're going into a bit that's now a bit more opened up. And we're going to just sort of see what these cars are made of. A lot of cyclists out and about, so we'll just let them go. Now, the four-wheel steering in this car is just magical. It doesn't feel as big as the car actually is because of that four-wheel steering. It really reduces the wheelbase feel, so you go around corners like you're in a very nimble 911 really. But you are hauling a lot of weight around, obviously, with the batteries, and that's noticeable, but it's instantly removed by the fact that you've got just so much power going on and so much instantaneous power going from the batteries into these motors. There's sort of trickery and wizardry going on that makes it feel unbelievable. It's like cars shouldn't do this, but they do. Now, we all know electric cars feel fast. This also, of course, being electric is fast, feels fast, but it also feels really premium. Like, I would say this is easily the most luxurious electric car you can get today. It's obviously, apart from looking at hypercars perhaps, this is pretty impressive. And Porsche have put an insane amount of engineering into this to make it work. They've got a number of different models like they do in all of their ranges, and every year they do incremental improvements to their range of cars to actually make them better and better. And the thing about the Porsche compared to our Audi e-trons that we had, Porsche tend to get the technology just a little bit first. They tend to be the sort of the early adopters with the technology on the electric side of things, and then that information gets passed down through the Volkswagen group ultimately to Audi and other electric cars that are in their range. So, you know, you drive a car like this and you know you're getting the very latest in electrification from Porsche and from Volkswagen actually, and it's pretty impressive. All the years and years of engineering that's gone into the making of the Porsches, the 911s, their whole range, just so much knowledge and skill, and it all culminates into this incredible piece of engineering. And it is an incredible piece of engineering. It's just so tight. Everything about it is just so well put together. Now, you'll remember I did do a review of one of the first Porsche Taycans, and I think it was the 4S that I might have had, and I didn't like it as much as the Audi at the time. And you know, the car that I was test driving back then was probably one of the earlier Porsches off the production line, and it had a few sort of squeaks and rattles in it, which this car does not have. They've really sort of tightened up on everything here, and it's noticeable. It really is. It's just wonderful driving through these roads here. Just incredible. It's a very wide car. And you know, that was the same with the e-tron GT. It's a very, very wide car, and you do notice that on the road. Like, I feel like if someone's coming towards me on this little narrow road, I need to give them room, plenty of room, you know. So, oh, I've lost Carl. He's somewhere behind me. So this is the sort of car that would just make perfect sense on big long trips. It's got reasonable battery range for an electric car, remembering it is a heavy car, and you know, it's the sort of car, it's a performance car, so you're going to always want to drive it a little bit more on the spirited side, which is going to use more electricity, of course. But the technology in these vehicles to actually optimize your battery distance and things like that seems to be just getting better and better every single year. So that's pretty good. And Carl's pretty happy with the range that he's getting out of this car, and the way that he's driving it. And I think he's claiming that he's easily getting around the 400, 420 kilometer range, which he's really happy with. And I would be too. This is really good. But today we're not hypermiling. Today we are just out enjoying these cars, and wow, how cool! How cool is this? Now, you might have heard there is a new Taycan version coming out later this year, 2024. I guess it's the 2025 car, and again, like with every new release of car, it's going to have it's going to be better, smarter. It's going to have improvements. It's going to have all sorts of flash things. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. But this car is just the best electric car you can buy today, I would say. You know, not the cheapest by any stretch. I think, don't quote me on this, I'll put the retail price of this up on the screen. I've got a feeling it's around the 400,000 New Zealand dollar mark. It depends how you spec the car, of course, but it's premium, you know, and that's the point of these cars. They're premium. Driving this car, just like my petrol Turbo S, it puts a smile on your face. It's a happy place to be. This is not just about getting you from A to B. This is about getting you to A to B with a grin on your face, and just with a sense of joy and delight, and that's what it's all about with Porsche. You know, the driving experience, and they haven't lost that in this car. They've really made sure that they've injected a good dollop of driving feel into the car. It feels good. The steering feels good. You know, they've done a really good job at dealing with the weight and countering it in the program that they use to propel the car forward. It feels really, really good. The other thing I'll say is the brake feel, even though it's using a combination of brakes plus regen, it feels good. Like, it's really well mapped. So, you know, when you're applying the brakes, it feels like real brakes. You know, it doesn't have a kind of an artificial feel or an excessive regen battery feel. It feels like, you know, a sports car brakes should feel like, and that's good. It's good that they've sort of dialed that feeling into the car so that you don't lose that. The ride feel is it's a pretty hard ride, but then so is my Turbo S, and that's obviously partly programmed into the car. Perhaps it feels slightly harder ride, and that's the weight is probably having to deal with that weight potentially. So that's understandable. How's it feeling back there?
This is nice. I can definitely feel the difference in weight.
Yes, it's much lighter, isn't it?
Oh, you can throw this thing around the corners, yes, most definitely. How are you finding that one?
I'm conscious of the weight, but it's dealing with it really, really well. Like, it's you know, it's countering it with the power that comes into the battery from the batteries, you know.
Yeah, it's incredible suspension on that car.
Yeah, and also with the four-wheel steering, it feels shorter and smaller than it really is. So it does deceive you. It comes up on you. You know, you got to just think about it.
Yeah, because mirror to mirror, that car's wider than your lane.
Yeah, I know, and I can feel that. So that's really interesting that Carl can feel that weight difference, and you do. I mean, you know, that's the thing with electric cars. You're dealing with a huge amount of weight that you have to haul about, and I think we'll head left here. I think we're making good time, aren't we?
Yeah, I reckon we're doing all right.
Now, it's interesting. I've spent 2 years, as has Carl, living with the e-tron GT, and same platform, obviously, as this. Yeah, interesting. This car feels much more nimble, and the steering, you know, the steering is just Porsche steering, not Audi steering, and that is different, you know. I don't mind the Audi steering at all. I like it, but you know, when you feel the steering, it's like this is far more sporty. This is far more talking to the driver, you know. As best as these kind of electronic steering systems can, yeah, I can feel the road better. I feel more precise in what I'm doing. This is like a scalpel. It's a precision instrument, and you kind of you know that, but you also respect it. You have to respect it the same way as you would a scalpel, you know, because it could cut you if you use it wrong. I'm sort of stuck behind a slow car right now, so just having to sort of let them do their little thing. While I am stuck behind this little slow car in front, just looking at the cabin here, you know, very familiar to the recent 911 991.2. Remember the Carrera 4S that I drove the other day? Nice digital dash in front of me, fully digital, so there's absolutely no analog, obviously, because it's an electric car. And then you've got the same sort of big CarPlay map screen right in the center, which is really nice. This Taycan, being the premium version, has got an additional passenger screen, which I guess you can configure in very different ways. I haven't really looked into how that's set up, but I'm sure there's a million YouTube videos on how that all works. Cool, lots of screens, nice. It doesn't feel overkill on screens when it's in its default mode. It's nice. Once again, typical Porsche, blocking the edges of the screens with the steering wheel. That seems to be the thing that they love doing. I guess that just harks back to the original 1960s Porsches. And it's quite cool. It's good to have a bit of a quirk with a car. Well, I mean, you're up to dangerous speeds really quickly, but with great brakes to be able to pull you back. It can get up to 100 kilometers per hour very quickly, shall we say, and it can maintain that 100 kilometer an hour speed for, you know, good periods of time. Incredible. Okay, and away we go. Whoa! Just from a standstill. It must still have that secondary gear system, just like the Audi does, because I could kind of feel it transitioning through at that point. I'm just going to try moving the drive mode now across to Sport and Sport Plus. Woo! Okay, let's try Sport Plus. Just sort of sit back here and cruise a little. What's the time? 11:15. We'll just give it a wee bit of jandle. Oh, okay, so Sport Plus, that's where the sound comes from. I don't know if you could hear that. There we go, it's back. It's back. And when you slow down. It's a funny sound. Oh, I think I would definitely turn that sound off. It's kind of cool. I don't know, I guess you could get used to it, I suppose. It makes me laugh. It does make me laugh. It's like the German.
I can definitely see why these Porsches are so popular on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's a pretty special piece of machinery.
But yeah, they handle like a dream.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Well, that concludes my Porsche Turbo S Taycan driving experience. Thanks again, Carl, for letting me drive your car. It was awesome. Obviously, Carl was following along in my Turbo S, petrol fossil Turbo S, and you know, his impressions were, wow, it's light, it's nimble, it's small, which is true. I mean, that's a great car. The Taycan, it's awesome. It's got to be the best electric car. I think I said it already. It's got to be the best electric car on the market. I mean, it's priced accordingly, obviously, but it's it really has all the polish that you would expect from a brand like Porsche, all the comfort, the way that they've mapped the brakes, the acceleration, and the suspension and the handling on that car to give you that sort of, even with the four-wheel steering, to give you that kind of impression that you're actually in a car that's smaller than it really is, that's lighter than it really is. It's pretty impressive, and heck, if there's cars like this around, the future for electric cars, I think, looks very bright, particularly driver-inspired or driver-focused electric cars. I think the future's in good hands, and I think it's pretty exciting. Hey, I still love petrol though, so don't worry, there'll be plenty more petrol cars coming up. Stay tuned, like, subscribe. See you next time.